This week on Quad and B, we're taking you in the southern part of New Brunswick. Yes, beautiful sceneries. We will be talking about clubs Central Greenwich Trailblazers, Grand Bay Westfield Riders, Musquash ATV Club, and Charlotte Club. So stay with us.
The Central Greenwich Trailblazers Club and the Grand Bay Westfield Riders ATV Club, two small clubs, membership-wise, offer great natural trails that will catch your eyes and take your breath away. Both in a country region with small communities, the fall scenery adds to their many charms. Both clubs total 260 members in 2016 and are the link between Southern ATV clubs and the provincial capital, connecting Fredericton's Region 5 and Region 6. Let's not avoid taking a drive through the Greenwich and Grand Bay Westfield communities and let yourselves be charmed.
Yes, welcome to another show of Quad and B. So happy to be with you once again this week. We will be talking, as mentioned, about clubs in the southern part of New Brunswick, Central Greenwich Trailblazers, Grand Bay Westfield Riders, Musquash ATV Club, and Charlotte County Club. But first, we'll talk about the clubs Central Greenwich Trailblazers and Grand Bay Westfield Riders, where we can see things extraordinary. Let's say it that way. My guest this week, Marion St-Pierre. It's so nice to see you today.
Lovely to see you too.
Yeah,
Jacques.
with the rain, but still, this is what ATVing is all about.
This is what it is.
Marion, you've been involved in ATVing for many years.
Many years.
Yeah, many years. Talk to us a little bit about your experiences before we talk about the two first clubs.
Oh, like I've been biking for a long time. Belonged to other clubs before, getting into starting our own club, and have traveled this whole province. And it's also traveled to Newfoundland and
Really?
Quebec, and thought, New Brunswick has more to see or just as much to see as any of those provinces. We have it all.
So I see you as a woman's ambassador for ATVing, since you're so active. There's a place for women in ATVing.
Oh, definitely,
involvement, voluntarily, yes.
Should have more women involved in the
Yes.
ATV. Women are more organized.
Oh, really? And on the boards also?
On the board, definitely.
Now, about the two clubs we'll be talking about in the first portion of the show, Central Greenwich Trailblazers, Grand Bay Westfield Riders. Give us a little details about those two clubs.
Well, the Central Greenwich Trailblazers is a part of Region 6, and they're club number 36, and they have some wonderful sites, like you said, the picturesque of the St. John River. Evandale, the resort, is there that offers restaurants and fuel and accommodations, and they're still in the development stage. They don't have all their managed trails in place, but they're working on it, just like many other clubs.
Yes.
And it's all about trail maintenance and getting things organized. Now they've just had some new president and vice president executives, so they're getting their feet wet and trying to work hard at maintaining what was already in place.
Yes, that's important.
Yes, yes.
I've been there at the fall season, and it's a paradise.
Yes.
The colors, the St. John River. People, it's a must for people to go there and visit. At least take a ride on their ATVs, because it's just great.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic. A lot to offer. They also access into CFB Gagetown. They do a lot of work with the CFB Gagetown and the Army grounds. But you do need permission to go into the Army grounds, and I don't know if it's going to be covered on another segment in the CFB Gagetown, but you always have to call range control to have permission to go there. But they do a lot with Central Greenwich. I know those clubs are involved together. Yeah.
Annual events?
They've had in the past poker runs and a lot of raising funds for different charities, Cancer Society, and you name it. So they've been really active over the years, and so we'll see what this new executive comes up with.
This is something also interesting, because many clubs have annual events that benefit many organizations.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Whether it is cancer, or whether it's soup kitchens, or whatever the menu of the day is.
That's it. You've been in the past a regional director.
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
never been a region director.
Okay.
But I've been I was the director at large
Okay,
for
that's
the
it,
federation. Yeah, and now they did away with that job. So, what?
Nice experiences?
Lovely, lovely. And that's why I said, if we had more women on board, I think they can help. Because sometimes when old boys club gets together, they're not looking at the whole picture. So women have a lot to offer.
Yes.
And our sport also is for children. I mean, we're training children 6 years old and up. So, family event. And it has to become that rather than just men being out roughhousing and whatever.
That's it.
It's more than that.
And the ATV or the quadding culture has changed a lot in the last 15 years. It's really not what we used to see ATVers riding everywhere or anywhere. More organized clubs, more managed trails. So this is a win-win situation for everyone.
For everyone. Safer. We want everyone to be safe on the trail, to enjoy themselves, have a family outing that they can go on rides, whether it be by themselves or on an organized event, taking part in all those things.
Right.
Because it's getting out in the outdoor, the nature, and so
Right.
that's important to everybody. And New Brunswick has so much to offer.
Marion, thanks for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
You'll be back with us in the second portion of the show. We'll
Yes.
talk about the clubs, Musquash ATV Club and Charlotte. Now let's join our GM, Jacques Poirier.
Thank you.
Yes, he's with us, as promised a few seconds ago, Jacques Poirier, GM of our New Brunswick All-Terrain Vehicle Federation. We will talk, Jacques, with you about this funding that the clubs have to develop their trails, what we call in our language the TIF.
Yes. The funding program is called the Trail Infrastructure Funds. It's essentially a fund that clubs can apply to get more funding for trail development. We have to understand it's $180,000, but for every dollar that they get through this funding, the club has to invest at least $1 for each one. Okay. So if a club asks for $100,000, they have to invest $100,000 in that particular program.
What are the criteria to have access to that funding?
Most of the applications that actually have to come into the Federation. We have to look to make sure that it meets the criteria of the funding itself. One of the major ones that has to be respected, basically the application must be for a provincial trail, meaning linking club to club. That is a requirement. But not only that, there's multiple other things that has to be considered. We have to make sure that all the infrastructures are in place when they're doing those particular applications and when they're doing the project. In question, we're talking about signage, we're talking about trail shelters, rest areas, basically bridges that must be put in place, so on and so forth.
You're talking about bridges. People have to know, we have mentioned it previously, the cost of to build a bridge. So when you have a 100-foot span bridge to build, it's $100,000 that it costs.
At least, if not more.
That's it. So you don't cover really long with $100,000 because the trails have to be built with certain specifications also.
Yes, there are standards that we have to follow. In many cases, when it comes to a bridge, we have to follow what the environment tells us to do. What we call a WAWA permit, which is a wetland and watercourse alteration permit. That particular permit will dictate what the club must do in order to obey the environment laws.
Okay, so when you look at it, I might ask the same question as I asked the others. Where do you see the Federation? Because we see a real increase in membership. You're up to over $20,500. We see the impact directly when you invest on trails. It has a positive impact on membership. So should all the clubs look at that keyword, trails development?
It is a key word, yes. We've seen for the past few years clubs that have been really active in trail development seeing a huge increase in their membership. We have several clubs in the province that have over 1,000 members each, and that's basically due to the club that have gone and basically built a lot of trails, and that's basically enticed the people to actually join and be part of that club or those clubs.
The best way to attract tourists is obviously having nice trails. You have that already, but the only issue that you have is to make the connection between all the clubs, which is not possible yet.
No, it's something that we're currently working with the clubs and with government. There's certain things that we have to approach government to try and lobby them to allow us access to certain either on Crown land or transportation property. Those are things that we're currently working on, and hopefully within the next few years we will have that rectify and clubs could start building trails.
At least it's moving step by step in a positive way.
Yes.
Jacques Poirier, thank you. We will have you later on in the series to talk about the Federation itself. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for Marion St-Pierre for the first portion of the show. We'll see you again next week. We'll move in the North Fredericton area once again for you, just for you, Quad and B. So see you next week.
Did you know a 2010 Department of Tourism survey on the ATV industry showed that the government and operational expenditures of $2.5 million was estimated to produce a total gross sales volume of $4.96 million, with an estimated 52 full-time equivalent jobs created. Province received an estimated $340,000 in revenues, 57,000 of which was municipal. Combined trail development, operational expenditures, and ATV visitor spending of $7.2 million was estimated to produce a total gross sales volume of $12.2 million. And that does not include the purchase of machines and clothing. The province benefit $670,419 and $110,276 that went to municipal administrations. Let's now enter a quad region with two clubs well known for the numerous year-round activities. We're talking about the Musquash Club and a little more to the south, west of St. John, a region that is rich with heritage and known for its numerous lakes. Further to the north, Eastern Charlotte clubs share the same geographic region and attractions. La Pro, Halls, Munson, Sherwood Lakes, provincial parks, and last but not least, the beautiful Bay of Fundy. That concludes our tour of the Fredericton's Region 6, with two clubs totaling over 400 members.
Welcome back to Quad and B. Yes, the show that takes you right in the heart of New Brunswick. This week, we're not in the heart of New Brunswick, but we're in the southern part of New Brunswick, still with our guest, Marion St-Pierre. Marion, thanks for staying with us.
Thank you.
Now we'll be talking about two of the clubs. Before we went to on the break, we talked about Central Greenwich Traiblazers and the Grand Bay Westfield Riders. Now we'll talk about Musquash Club and Charlotte County. What's to be said about those two last clubs?
Those two clubs are very busy working. We have lots of managed trails. I know with the Musquash Club, we have over 100 kilometers of managed trail. We groom 50 kilometers of that trail in the winter. And the Charlotte County are working just as hard as we are to maintain, because we connect really well, next door neighbors. So we're working hard to get our trails.
And this is something important or interesting, because people, if they ride just on one club's trails, it's getting boring at the end.
Yes.
But since the trail permit allows the people to travel on all the trails in New Brunswick, no matter where they are,
yes.
In wintertime it's the same thing. What are your trail conditions wintertime and summertime for those two clubs?
Like I said, we're grooming, and Charlotte County grooms as well. We're both four-season clubs, and we are in the process. We're kind of cut off in Musquash at our trailhead, so Musquash is trying to develop the trails going into St. John West or West St. John. We're working diligently to try to get access in so we can have more services, so people can come right from really St. Stephen, Fredericton, all the way into St. John and up to Grand Bay, Central Greenwich, and back again.
That's it. So I guess this gives people regionally or all around the province, good accesses to, well, as you said, services and attractions also, because you were there when we identified the 200 sites that were to be visited in New Brunswick on their ATVs. Your club or your region was in the loop with those sites.
Well, and in our area, as well as in lots, there's lots of water and streams and rivers and you know, oceans and all of that. I mean, with Charlotte Club, you can take the ferry across to Grand Manan Island and do some of their managed trails and access service there as well, yes.
Apparently nice things to visit over there also.
Oh, yes. I mean, the sites are on, you know, of the ocean. I mean, I love water, so it's wonderful over there. And now in Musquash area, we have the saltwater marshes. We have La Pro Falls. There are tons of rivers and, like I said, falls of natural beauty that people really, the family needs to get out and enjoy and visit and really take in the whole of New Brunswick.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You mentioned it in the first part of the show. There are bugs, not flies. Don't worry, mosquitoes and all that.
That's our protein for the day.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I won't be able to have lunch. No, we're kidding. But it's still, this is becoming a new event for families. We see more and more, as you said in the first part of the show, we see more and more of those on trails with the four-seaters, side-by-sides, four-seaters. Now they have six-seaters, so it's becoming really a great family event.
Well, we have some members that even take their dogs with them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Even in wintertime.
Even in the wintertime.
Yes.
So it's the whole family event, and which is so heartening for everyone, because we have a better reputation, where years ago the reputation of an ATVer was not so great. They were out doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So nowadays it's about family orientated. It's about having fun, meeting friends, having good times, enjoying the outdoors, having a cookout.
Yes.
You know, that sort of thing.
Typical, traditional cookout. This is something that remains, doesn't change.
That's it.
How about the future of those two clubs, trail-wise, development-wise, if we can speak so?
Well, the only is for Musquash. I'll talk about Musquash for a minute. Like I said, we're trying to develop. Our only part to develop is into St. John to get access. We're having some obstacles. I won't kid you. There are some challenges. We've been in existence since 2002, and it's just been a couple of years ago that we've gotten our trails recognized. Right. So everyone's working hard. The same with Charlotte County. They could develop it to go towards St. Stephen. I mean, we come up to Fredericton, Rushiganish, those sort of clubs up here. We make that trip once a year. So it's trying to network to everyone.
That's it. It's a must.
It's a must.
Same thing, trail number 10.
Most of ours is all managed trail number 10.
Good.
So we are really ahead of the game. Like Jim, I think, mentioned in a future show or a previous show about trail number 10 that they're ahead of the game, and I think we're in that same. The Charlotte County and the Musquash are in that same boat. We're ahead of the game because we have a lot of trail 10.
What I also know is that you have great annual events that keep being repeated with success after success.
Oh, yes. From runs. But then again, we have lots of club runs that are just fun runs, not to collect money. But I know our club does a dealer demo once a year, and we have a great success. This has been our second year that we've held it, and good success. Gives the opportunity for folks to come out who've never tried biking to try a ride for the day.
Yes, so this is a community event. It's ATVing is not only a family event, it became a community event. So this is the best example. What happens at that event? You have a dealer day. What happens?
Dealers come together. We get them to come together. We have a canteen, barbecue. People for $2 a ride can go ride a brand new demo bike.
Really?
From anything from a four-seater side-by-side to an ATV. And we let our people ride for about 15 minutes. We take them on a trail ride for 15 minutes so they can have the opportunity to try out new machines. And what better way, you're not sure what brand, because there are some die-hard I won't say the brand names,
Yes,
but
that's
there,
it. That's it.
there are some diehard people in that, but this gives them the opportunity to try other models.
Oh,
So,
really?
make some models.
So the funding, the money goes to the
Back
club
on the
or
trail.
That's it.
Back on the trail,
trails,
yeah.
because
It's very expensive to main trail, whether it's winter grooming or in the summer, because it's very expensive to gravel. We have, for especially trail number 10, there has to be a certain level
That's
of
it.
expertise there, and so culverts and gravel and that is expensive.
You're taking us into this dimension of having good trails. People don't realize, the members, our GM has explained how it works, how the money is spent and all that stuff. So I've mentioned it in a previous show that it costs I would say $10,000 for a kilometer of trail, and the bridge costs $1,000 a linear foot, so it's really expensive. So
Yes.
the money goes there all the time.
All the time.
And with the events, pay for grooming, buy the machines, and this is great.
Well, I know we had one bridge that cost us $65,000, but it's an engineered, structured bridge, so it's safe. That's what it's all about, riding safe trails.
That's it. Marion, you've done lots of work so far, but still a lot to be done.
And
So-
I'm at retirement. I've retired.
I don't
And
believe that. You're still working as much as you would be working.
Oh, yes,
So
full
that's-
time,
That's
full
what
time.
volunteering is all about.
yes, that's what
So
volunteering
what's
is all about.
coming in the next years for those two clubs?
I would like to see, and everybody would like to see, all presidents would like to see us grow, not just in membership, but to grow, to have the ability to have well-maintained trails, so government and private landowners would give us the right to be able to access and to be able to make this province-wide tourist product, because like I said, I'd gone to other provinces, so this is a great way for folks to make money.
And we keep hearing it from Nova Scotia and Quebec. Now Ontario is getting aboard. They say, well, New Brunswick has a brand new product to offer. This is what we're looking for, but there's still lots of work to be done
Lots to work.
get them here. But we're heading there.
We're getting there.
We're getting
Hopefully I'll be done before I'm too old.
there. Before you retire from volunteering.
Before volunteering.
That could take quite a while. Hope
For
to
sure.
see you there until you get 90 years old. That will be just great.
Just great.
Well, Marion, you've made us discover all those clubs in the southern part of New Brunswick. We
Oh.
do hope that people will travel here to see how it works and to discover the beauty of the St. John River
Oh.
and the beauty of what you have to
They
offer.
need to experience it firsthand.
Right,
Right.
you got it right. So Marion St-Pierre, who was with us, she talked about the Central Greenwich Trailblazers, Grand Bay Westfield Riders, Musquash ATV Club, Charlotte County. Next week, we're moving up north, Fredericton.
Welcome to Riding Tips with Jim. This week we're going to talk about proper braking techniques as well as parking. Your owner's manual describes your ATV's braking system. You may have both front and rear brakes or a rear brake only. Of course, your braking technique will depend on your ATV's braking system and the type of terrain you are riding on. Some tips for braking are: release the throttle and use the engine to slow the vehicle. Apply both brakes equally if equipped. Avoid excessive braking while cornering, as it may cause the ATV to tip or lose control. Apply brakes lightly on super slippery surfaces. Shift to a lower gear when ascending a hill and don't ride the brake for long periods. Shift your weight to the back when braking. Parking. When parking your ATV, you should move off the trail so you don't block other riders. Shift to neutral and set the park brake, or if equipped, select the park gear. Avoid parking on an incline. This has been Riding Tips with Jim. Keep the rubber side down.